ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਫਿਰ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰ ਨਿੱਘਾ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਹੈ ਜੀ ਆਇਆਂ। ਅੱਜ ਦੀ ਚਰਚਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਔਰ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਡਾ ਚੈਨਲ ਪਸੰਦ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ ਤੇ ਇਸ ਨੂੰ ਲਵਾਉਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਤਾਂ ਰੋਜਰਸ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਾਲ ਕਰਨੀ ਆ ਔਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਕਿ 915 ਨੰਬਰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਆ। ਬੈਲ 5 ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ 2333 ਨੰਬਰ ਇਸ ਚੈਨਲ ਦਾ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਜੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਇਹ ਦੋਨੇ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਆ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਓਵਰਸੀਜ਼ ਭੈਣ ਭਰਾ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਆਸਟ੍ਰੇਲੀਆ, ਨਿਊਜ਼ੀਲੈਂਡ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਤਾਂ www.punjabtv.ca 5AAB tv.ca ਜਿਹੜੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੈਬਸਾਈਟ ਦੱਸਣੀ ਆ ਜਾਂ ਫਿਰ YouTube ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸਬਸਕ੍ਰਾਈਬ ਕਰੋ ਔਰ ਸਾਡਾ ਲਾਈਵ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਰੋਡ ਟੂਡੇ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਗਰੁੱਪ ਤੋਂ ਮਨਨ ਗੁਪਤਾ ਜੀ ਵੀ ਨੇ। ਮਨਨ ਜੀ once again welcome।
थैंक यू वेरी मच दीपक जी, बड़ी वधिया रोचक गलबात चल रही है। किर्स्टी डंकन होनी अपनी लाइफ स्टोरी और पॉलिटिकल स्टोरी शेयर कर रहे हैं which is great।
ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹੇ ਇੰਟੈਲੀਜੈਂਟ ਮੈਂਬਰ ਪਾਰਲੀਮੈਂਟਸ ਦੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਲੋੜ ਆ।
ਬਿਲਕੁਲ,
ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਵੈਸੇ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਸੀਟਮੇਟ ਨੇ ਜੀ ਜਸਟਿਨ ਟਰੂਡੋ ਹੋਣਾ ਦੇ। ਜੇ ਉਹ ਜਿੱਤ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ ਤਾਂ ਮੇਬੀ ਯੂ ਵਿਲ ਬੀ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਇਨ ਹਿਸ ਕੈਬਨਿਟ।
that was actually, I was just going to ask that question, Kirsty, you got first elected in 2008. At that time Liberal Party was official in opposition,
Yes.
Then in 2011 it slipped down to the third level. It was not an official opposition. Looking at 2015, it's going to be a very tight race. Nobody is predicting what is going to actually happen. It is in the hands of voters, right?
Absolutely.
So if Liberal Party comes into power, and I know Justin Trudeau recently mentioned just before the elections that he's going to ensure that his cabinet has equal number of men and women. Do you see yourself in that coveted seat at the cabinet table once elected as Liberal government?
I have one focus right now. I have to work hard. I have to work hard during the election, and I still work hard for the people.
Okay.
Like even after campaigning through the day, I go home, I answer 300 emails each night. I still have to be there for the people. So I have one goal: keep knocking on doors, being with the people I love, and that's my focus.
How big is your staff?
In Ottawa, we are unusual in that I have one colleague in Ottawa. Everyone else is in the riding, so we remain focused on serving the people. As I said, I left.
How many people in your riding?
We have over 100,000.
No. How many? Do you have any?
Oh, you mean in terms?
Staff?
Yes.
Who can reply to emails and phone calls?
Yes. No, we have we have 3 full-time people in the riding,
Okay.
and then just one in Ottawa. And that, because my goal is always to serve the people. That, as I said, I left a career
So you want to have that direct connection with the constituents.
To serve the people I love, yes. Okay. And I do 8-10 events on a weekend because I want to be with the people.
So you handle your Twitter account and Facebook account by yourself?
Absolutely.
That's strange.
Absolutely. You know why? Because that's another way I can, if people Facebook me at 2 in the morning, sometimes 3 in the morning, depending where they are in Canada or elsewhere, the chances are I'm up, but regardless, I can respond to them. So if they have direct questions to me, they get direct answers from me.
Right. Have you ever been to India?
I have. I'm really honored. I received a beautiful award in India.
Mm-hmm.
It was the Millennium Award, and I received it for my climate change work and the work I do on pandemic influenza. Every say 100 years there are these pandemics of influenza.
Yeah.
Remember we had one a while ago?
Yeah.
So I had led a big expedition many years ago, almost to the Arctic, 500 miles away, to try and learn more about pandemics, and I was really humbled to receive the award I received in India.
Before 2008?
No, it was after that.
After you were MP, eh?
Yes, and it was a tremendous joy to go. I love the languages. I love when people teach me the languages of India.
For example?
Mara naam Kirsty Duncan che kam cho.
Oh, that's Gujarati. I know why she started with Gujarati due to Narendra Modi. He's the...
No. Okay, how about Menobaraman hai Liberal Party their leader Justin Trudeau nu represent Canada Mauka milya hai.
That's Punjabi. That's what.
And for tomorrow, Eid Mubarak, everybody. Eid Mubarak.
That's very nice. No, we are very pleased to learn your achievements and learn your laurels. Definitely, you just a few minutes ago, Kirsty, you mentioned that you like to engage your constituents. You like to be the
Absolutely.
face. You don't want to have any hurdle between your constituents and the services which you can deliver. Looking at the election polling numbers, looking at the percentage of people, those who actually vote, it has been very alarming. If you look at the
Yes.
last 6 to 7 elections,
Yes.
the voting percentage has actually gone down from, say, 70%. Even in the last election, it was only 61%. So what could parliamentarians like you or political parties like you represent do to bring that number up so that people can really involve themselves?
I'm glad you asked that. People need a voice in Parliament. Parliament is the people's house.
Right.
And my job is to serve our constituents and to be their voice on issues that matter to them, whether it's autism. We have families, 1 in 64 families struggling with autism. I need to be their voice. And so I've also created a youth group. As I said, young people I've worked with young people my whole life.
Yes.
And we have the youngest young liberal group in all of Ontario.
Okay.
They are grade 9 and 10, and they're learning about the political process. And they're going back to their schools and teaching, sharing that with their classmates. They're bringing in more youth. We are trying to engage as many youth as we can so that they grow up learning that politics matters.
Yes.
It matters because if you want change, if you want to be part of change, you have to get involved.
You have to participate.
Yes, and they need to know that they have a voice and that voice matters. And I always am very careful. If someone asks me to bring an issue to the House, I give them the speech or whatever I've said in Parliament so they know that their voice has been heard in the People's House.
Very good.
So you were also involved in Young Liberals before or not?
I was growing up. I was always involved in politics. I come from a house where you had to. School was very important.
Yes.
Sports were also important. My dad was a pitcher, a baseball pitcher.
Okay.
And had been asked by 6 major league teams to pitch, including the New York Yankees.
Wonderful.
My dad never went
Oh.
because my dad his mom was a widow and he had to look after his mom.
Wow.
My mom was a phys ed teacher. So my brother and I trained 6 nights a week, gymnastics, 5 hours a night. We were very busy in sports, and I coached a lot of sports, and I judged internationally, diving, tower diving. I was a long-time judge.
I think you're the very unique, multifaceted parliamentarian which House of Commons might have,
Yes.
been able to attract, because it's difficult to get talented people to run for public office these days. People just look at politics, just look at these positions
games.
as another investment in business. It is very rare to find, real people, those who are involved in public service, those who want to give back. And we are really pleased to have you in the studio sharing that story.
Thank you so much. I always say it's a choice.
Yeah.
Every day is a choice. You can choose how you act in Parliament. You can choose how you serve the people. And I need to be able to look myself in the mirror at the end of the day. I have to respect my colleagues, and I have to respect their ideas, and I will work hard to advance issues, and I do. I've had the government reverse its position 3 times on issues that I've brought forward. Reverse its positions.
And what are those?
It was regarding multiple sclerosis.
Okay.
Multiple sclerosis in this country affects about 95,000 people. And new science, because I'm a scientist, I pay attention to the new science. And I asked the government to have clinical trials, and it said no. And I kept pushing and pushing. And those clinical trials are happening now. I wanted them to do a registry. They said no. I kept pushing and pushing, and we got that. And I've been able to get special debates in the House of Commons that I've requested. And they'd be 4-hour debates where the whole House of Commons comes together and works together. And it's because I've done that. I've pushed for it.
Do you think a bill like C-51, Canada needs that? Do you think that way? That we need that?
Bill C-51. The Liberals did support Bill C-51, and the reason being there were some important measures. There would be more cooperation between agencies and departments. They would make better use of no-fly lists. When the bill came to committee, there were many witnesses who said there were important measures. I mean, we had 4 former prime ministers come forward and say, we need this, but all of us were concerned because you have to always strike a balance between individual rights and freedoms and collective security. Justin Trudeau came out from the very beginning and said, should he be elected, he will do 3 things. He will clarify and focus what he considers overly broad measures. He will ensure parliamentary oversight like our Five Eyes partners, and there will be a 3-year mandatory review. Mr. Mulcair says he likes it, he'll bring back, but you don't know what parts. You know with Mr. Trudeau what parts he will change.
Okay. And what about F-35 planes?
The F-35s, yes.
What is the main issue behind that? Economy or US dollar value? Or we are in debt? What is the main issue?
Why would Justin Trudeau cancel the F-35s?
Yes.
Because that's a really good question. Because the prices have ballooned over time, and because there are some concerns with the plane. So he would cancel that and then have an open, accountable, transparent process that did not exist. To choose a plane. I should also talk a bit about defense in terms of we will keep defense spending at the current amount, which is $10 billion, enhanced icebreakers, there's a bit on defense, and restore our sacred trust with our veterans.
There is one caller with us, Kirsty.
Oh, okay.
Hello, Sat Shri Akal ji, welcome.
ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਭਾਜੀ
ਕੀ ਨਾਮ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਜੀ?
ਭਾਜੀ ਮੈਂ ਅਵਤਾਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਬੋਲਦਾ ਭਾਜੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛੋ ਮੜਿਆ ਸੌਰੀ ਮੈਂ ਅੰਗਰੇਜ਼ੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਸਕਦਾ ਪਰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛੋ ਮੜਿਆ ਨਾ ਕਿ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਇਹ ਬ੍ਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਬਾਰੇ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਭਗਤ ਨੰਬਰ ਦਾ ਇਹੀ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਕਿ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਧ ਅਨੁਸ਼ੋਧ ਬ੍ਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਵਾਲੇ ਪੇ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਵੋਟਾਂ ਪਾ ਲੈਣੇ ਮੈਂ ਚਲੋ ਮੈਂ ਵੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੋਟ ਪਾਉਂਗਾ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਕਰਨਗੇ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਇਹ ਮੇਰੀ ਤੇ ਇਹ ਸਾਡੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਕੀ ਕਰਨਗੇ ਸਾਡੀ ਅਨੁਸ਼ੋਧ ਕਾਰ ਦੀ ਘਟਾਉਣਗੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਘਟਾਉਣਗੇ
ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਜੀ
ਓਕੇ ਜੀ
our valued caller, he was concerned with the rising cost of insurance. He lives in
car insurance.
And
yes.
Anybody who is even slightly involved or attached to cities like Brampton, they know how much it pinches. High cost of
we
insurance.
all do. It's an issue we hear very often, and when I have people come in to talk about this, I take them right over to my provincial colleague and say, please, I introduce them so that they have action that minute, and I say, please, there's concerns here about the cost of insurance, and they can address their concerns.
But the thing is, it's glad that you forward the concern to
No, I take them over personally.
like you take them even in person.
Yeah.
But, looking at the hard facts, Liberals have been in power in Ontario from last 12 years. Yeah. Why they have not been able to address this issue? Every term, every election time, they say, "Oh, we'll look at that. We'll, reduce it." I know it's a provincial issue, but your riding has been core Liberal from the last 25 years or so. I think there should have been more action, more real action happening.
Well, I think this is why Mr. Trudeau has brought forward his plan for fairness. Okay. He wants to help the middle class, not the ultra-rich. He wants to help the middle class, and he has a good plan. He's going to cut taxes by 7% for the middle class. That really helps. And he's going to put forward a new child benefit, and it's linked to income. It starts at $6,400, but again, it depends on income. And what's important about this is it's larger benefit than the Conservatives. It is tax-free. Tax-free.
So non-taxable, it's not going to be taxed.
Yes, where, people who received a check this past July are going to have to pay taxes on that next spring. Ours is different. You will do better under the Liberal plan, right up to $150,000. Now, so you do better under our plan, and the NDP, our plan will help 9 out of 10 Canadians. The Conservative plan, which is based on income splitting, which is very expensive, is going to help the wealthiest 15%. The wealthiest 15%. So Conservatives help the wealthiest 15%. Liberal plan helps 9 out of 10 families. And Mr. Mulcair is signing on to Mr. Harper's failed economic policies.
I know, but his question stays the same about the car insurance.
Oh, sorry. Well,
The thing is, don't you think it should be public?
Well,
Or if you can introduce bill.
But it's provincial. I can't
or
introduce
if
the
you
bill
can put
provincially.
Pressure, working together.
Oh, that's a good.
Pressurizing, making it a priority.
Well, you know what? Actually, when I do have people come and to talk about insurance, it's something I always do raise.
Right.
Yeah. But I think
But
that's
nothing
why.
is happening.
Well, that's why. I
Being
think,
in the media, you can't even imagine how many calls we get every day.
And
issues.
he lives in Brampton, I live in Brampton, we face the maximum cuts on our, revenue.
But that's why you got to look at this Liberal plan. We want to keep more money, put more money back in families.
There is another call.
Oh, okay.
Hello, welcome ji.
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਭਾਜੀ
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਵੈਲਕਮ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਕੁਐਸਚਨ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਭਾਜੀ ਜਿਹਦਾ ਡੈਂਕਨ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਇਹਨੇ ਗੋਲ ਫੇਰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇਹਨੇ ਮੇਰਾ ਜਵਾਬ ਦਾ ਨਾ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਹੇਰ-ਫੇਰ ਕਰਤਾ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਨਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਤੇ ਗੌਰ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਨਾ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਜਗਮੀਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਐਨਡੀਪੀ ਤੋਂ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਉਹ ਸਾਰੇ 100% ਆਪਾਂ ਸ਼ੋਰ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਦਾਅਵਾ ਵੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਉਹਨੇ ਇਸ ਅਨਸ਼ੋਰ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਫਾਈਟ ਵੀ ਕੀਤੀ ਆ ਪਰ ਇਹਨੀ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰ ਵੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪ੍ਰੋਮਿਸ ਨਹੀਂ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਵੋਟ ਪਾਵਾਂਗੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛੋ ਕਿ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਪ੍ਰੋਮਿਸ ਕਰੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਦੋ ਵੀ ਬ੍ਰਾਂਪਟਨ ਇੰਨੇ ਪੀੜ ਹੋ ਰਹੇ ਅਨਸ਼ੋਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੇ ਝੂਠ ਬੋਲੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ ਸ਼ਰਿਆਮ
ਜੀ ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਜੀ
ਓਕੇ
Bilkul, their concern still remains the insurance thing. They said that the member parliaments and MPPs, they really need to work together to get issues resolved. It doesn't matter whether it's a federal issue or a provincial issue.
That's very
when all
important.
levels of government work together, anything can be resolved. If they have the willpower, if they have the political will to handle and find a remedy.
I take their concerns really seriously, and I agree with you. We must all work together, and I'll give you an example where I've done that in Etobicoke North. People are concerned about the crime. I brought together the police, all levels of government, and 30 different stakeholders and families who had been affected by violence to have meetings to see how we can work together to do this better. I have a standing round table. We get together every few months, all these organizations to work together how we can end the violence against women. So he's absolutely right. We must all work together, and you have to continue to push.
Yeah, I was reading all your articles regarding violence against women. You are raising a bigger voice in that way.
It's,
But in families, do you think instead of uniting families, when the police is involved in any kind of violence, like domestic violence or anywhere, they break the families instead of they are uniting the families.
Let me talk a bit about violence against women. I used to teach a women's health course at the university, and a class of about 150. I can tell you, every single class I taught, there was a young woman who stayed quietly behind to say that she was suffering abuse, whether it was physical abuse whether it was emotional or financial or sexual abuse. And they knew by coming forward to me that day, they would start to get the help they needed. But you know what? Young women should not be experiencing violence.
Yes.
And so it's been one of my main pushes since coming to Parliament is to work to end the violence against women.
Do you think niqab or burqa helps in that?
You know what? I think smart, compassionate women can choose how they want to dress.
But this recent issue of wearing or not wearing the niqab during citizenship ceremony, oath taking, what is your take on that? Personally as well as party.
My personal take on this is Canada.
Okay.
And
this is not Afghanistan.
This is Canada. What makes Canada special? What makes Canada special is our diversity.
Yes.
As I said, our riding is proudly the 5th most diverse riding in all of Canada.
Right.
What makes us special is our diversity. And I believe that we must all stand up against prejudice every day and everywhere. Can I share a story?
Yes, sure. That's why you are here.
Thank you.
It's story time.
When I was 7,
Okay.
the Sikhs came to Canada. And I remember my teacher, she didn't treat my young friends nicely.
Really? Wow. You saw it firsthand.
I saw it. Those children were 7. They had virtually no English. And can you picture a little 7-year-old? I was 7 years old, and I stood up to my teacher and I said, I don't like the way you talk to my friends.
Wow.
You're mean. And I
You
believe...
said to teacher, eh?
I was 7 years old. And I believe that we all have to stand up to prejudice every day,
Injustice,
everywhere, injustice. When I was in high school, I didn't like the way some of my friends talked to newcomers. And so what I did at lunch, I would go and help the newcomers with their English and their homework. We welcome the world in Canada. And we have to, what we do so well here is we celebrate all our cultures, all our religions.
Together.
What a beautiful, that makes Canada, Canada.
So you know the teachings of Guru Nanak?
Yes, I do. My favorite Guru Nanak Dev Ji story, and I share this at the university when I give a guest lecture. I share it everywhere because I think it's a beautiful story, how his father told him to go out and get a job.
Yeah.
And instead he took that money and he fed the people.
Right.
And I think the more we share stories like that, the more we bring Canadians together. We learn about one another. One of the things I love to do is go to the Gurdwara quietly and serve langar.
Wow, that's very. You're a very compassionate parliamentarian, human being. What is your take on the current refugee scenario? Which is talk of the entire world, but not many countries are doing literally, sufficient for helping those. We only have 3-4 minutes left.
Okay,
So.
thank you for raising that. I have fought for Syria the past 2.5 years.
Right.
I have written many national articles to draw attention to say Canada must do more. It is the worst crisis since the end of the Second World War.
True.
We have between 225 and 250,000 killed.
Yeah.
12 million needing humanitarian assistance, millions displaced inside Syria, and refugees in the neighboring countries. And I have fought for 2.5 years for Canada to do more. Our Canada, think what we did. We brought in tens of thousands from Hungary, from Vietnam, we helped in Uganda. Why? Because that is our history. Our strength.
Yeah.
We help. Do you know this government wanted to bring 1,300 refugees? 1,300. And John McCallum, he's a former minister, and I fought and fought to increase that number to 10,000. It's not enough. It's not enough. We have to do better.
We have one more caller. Sat Sri Akal ji, welcome.
Hello.
Welcome ji. ਕੀ ਕੁਐਸਚਨ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ?
ਹੈਲੋ
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਕੀ ਕੁਐਸਚਨ ਹੈ ਜੀ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ?
ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਵੀਰ ਜੀ।
ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਜੀ।
ਕ੍ਰਿਸਟੀ ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ।
Sat Sri Akal ji.
ਕੀ ਹਾਲ ਆ?
ਕੀ ਹਾਲ ਹੈ? ਠੀਕ ਆ, ਬਹੁਤ ਅੱਛਾ।
God bless you. You can win this area. I know. You're doing a good job.
It's your appreciation call, eh?
ਬਹੁਤ ਬਹੁਤ ਸ਼ੁਕਰੀਆ।
Thank you, ji.
Thank you जी,
Thank you,
बहुत बहुत
जी.
शुक्रिया।
So you have your fan following. Eh?
I'm so
And they are
touched.
watching
I'm
you.
humbled. I'm humbled. Well, Bobo Badania, this is your show. Congratulations on all your success.
Just some last final 1 or 2 questions. Ontario is going to be the game changer for any political party if they want to look at forming a government. With 121 seats being, on the table, what do you think Liberal Party can, how far Liberal Party can achieve success in Ontario? Because last time it was almost, shunted out. Only 11 or 12 MPs were elected from Ontario.
What I can tell you is we have a strong leader.
Okay.
A leader who is smart, who is compassionate, and he wants to make real change. I can tell you we've got good policies. We're focused on the middle class, not the ultra-rich.
Okay.
And we have an impressive team. I think of, we have internationally known journalists. We have people who've run, like the largest human resource company in Canada. These are impressive people who are leaving careers to serve their communities in our country. And ultimately, politics is supposed to be about families, communities, people, and not politics and polls. And let's make it about service.
बिल्कुल जी, बहुत once again thank you very much for coming and sharing your story with us. Any final message you want to give to our viewers, because we are almost winding
Okay,
up?
I'll just...
How can they approach you? How can they reach you, your constituency office?
Okay, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया. I want to say thank you for teaching me over the last 7 years. And I mean teaching me beautiful languages, cultures, religions. Thank you. And serving you has been the greatest honor of my life. I want you to know that my door is always open to you. And if you need to get hold of me, you send a Facebook message, you send an email, you send a Twitter and a phone number. And I will get back to you. And just thank you for the privilege of serving you. And to both of you, Manan and Deepak, bold Badania, congratulations on this show, really.
Thank you.
Really thankful to you, Kirsty, and it was an honor to have you on our air.
It's an honor to
Thank
be
you जी,
here.
मनन जी।
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया दीपक साहब।
अगले वेडनेसडे फिर मिलांगे।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल।
ਇਹ ਸਾਂ ਜੀ ਰੋਡ ਟੂਡੇ ਮੈਗਜ਼ੀਨ ਤੇ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਗਰੁੱਪ ਤੋਂ ਮਨਨ ਗੁਪਤਾ ਜੀ ਔਰ ਇਟੋਬੀਕੋ ਨਾਰਥ ਤੋਂ ਸਿਟਿੰਗ ਐਮਪੀ ਤੇ ਤੀਸਰੀ ਵਾਰ ਖੜੇ ਨੇ ਜੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕ੍ਰਿਸਟੀ ਡੰਕਨ ਇਟੋਬੀਕੋ ਨਾਰਥ ਤੋਂ ਤੇ ਇਹ ਸੀਗਾ ਜੀ ਸਾਡਾ ਅੱਜ ਦਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ, ਅੱਜ ਦੀ ਚਰਚਾ। ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਚਰਚਾ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਦੀ ਲੱਗੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਰੂਰ ਫੋਨ ਕਰਕੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਰੋ। 416 305 6062 ਮੇਰਾ ਨੰਬਰ ਹੈ ਜੀ, ਔਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਈਮੇਲ ਵੀ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਔਰ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸੁਜੈਸ਼ਨ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਦੇ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਅਗਲੇ ਹਫਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਇੱਕ ਨਵੇਂ ਮਹਿਮਾਨ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹਾਜ਼ਰ ਹੋਵਾਂਗੇ। ਤਦ ਤੱਕ ਲਈ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਸਾਡਾ ਰੱਬ ਰੱਖਾ।